All right. Now, before people start joining, what this is about is I was in a Google Hangout last last afternoon, I guess, and we were talking about prayer, answers. Can prayers get answered? Um, there was Brett Keane, G-Man, a couple of his buddies, and what the problem I had with the whole discussion was that a lot of the arguments for proof in prayer, um, well, they all stem from testimony, and I understand the validity of testimony, only on how dependent you are on the source. Um, it would be just like um, it would be like testimony in court without evidence to back up the testimony. And the problem with this is I can provide testimony. I can provide testimony to just about anything I want. Depends on where I'm coming from. Now, you can go into a mental asylum uh, and pick out 10 people in that mental asylum. There's probably one or two that think they're Jesus, another one or two that think they are the new coming, they are God, and their testimony, they believe what they say. Um, if you go off testimony alone, then everybody we lock up with psych orders or disorders, uh, you know, uh, based on the reasoning G-Man has, is that um, testimony is is great. It's something you can use as or pass off as evidence. Uh, see, but there's a large problem with this. Testimony without evidence is not provable. So what I would like to talk about today is, would you take testimony as evidence? Eyewitness account, if you're the only one there to witness it, not saying that it doesn't happen, but what was the mindset that that person was in at the time? Had they been alone for so many hours? As I don't know if you guys ever watched the TED conferences, but there's one that was called Mind Tricks a while back, and it's the tricks that the human mind can play in itself, and where people will believe that they've seen something when in fact it never happened. There's been studies on this where we can actually stimulate parts of the brain to actually, come up with these scenarios. And, so if the brain can play tricks on you, then what is testimony? Testimony is testimony. It's what you believe or have faith in that happened. So in my life, just me as just me singled out, I do take testimony, but in order to validate said testimony, I would require evidence on the subject matter, which I believe a lot of people. This isn't just something that I do. This is something everybody does in their daily lives. When people go up and be like, "Man, I just did this, I just did that. You should have saw it was awesome," and you can either trust the person, or you call them out and say, "Prove it," right? And then we do this every day. This isn't a bias that we hold strictly towards religion. we do this in everyday occurrences. You know, I did, you know, guy said he did this, or I screwed this person, or I did that, or, you know, most of the time, I find with people, they say, prove it. Prove to me what you just said is true. And, you know, and that's how we find it. That's how we find justification in the testimony, all right? If you can justify your testimony with evidence, then we accept it. Telemarketing happens all the time. Telemarketing fraud happens even more often. So if we were going to go off testimony of people, as G-Man said the other day, or yesterday, in his Our Prayers Really Answered, I believe that was the premise of it. You know, he said, is just everybody a liar? And I love to answer that with, yeah, everybody is a liar, but I can't. It's, you know, it's, I can't justify saying that. But yes, a large portion of people that I've run into in my life, you know, have lied to me over one thing or another, and I have lied to people. So it's not that, it has nothing to do with the amount of trust I have in the person. It's the situation that the person's in. Why is he telling me this? Is what he's telling me true? Do I care if it's valid or not? These are all questions that we primarily ask ourselves every day, in almost every conversation we have. We might not realize ourselves processing the information and saying, well, you know, maybe, maybe not, who cares? And then just pass it off. And, you know, not every conversation requires proof, right? So we just pass it off as, yeah, I've known this person for a while. He may or may not be lying to me, and either way, I don't care. And you know, that's just the way we discuss our lives. But in relation to religion and prayer, the problem I have with is that I have read lots of religious texts. I've read the NIV, the KJV, the Book of Mormon, and I've also read the Pearl of Great Price. In retrospect to the Pearl of Great Price, I've read the Quran. I've read scriptures in Buddha. I've done some light works of Krishna, which is, it's a fairly cool story, like kind of the history behind Krishna, and you know, it's probably one of the cooler God tales. It's not as baseline as a lot of the other religions out there. You know, just different parts of faith, because I didn't start off an atheist. When I started getting into religion, I was in AA and NA, and a large portion of these programs is to find a higher power. And where I live, you know, there is a fair amount of religion in my area, or at least there was when I was growing up. And I find that with that, you assume a deity. I'm sorry if my camera's not focusing. I'm not quite sure what's going on here. There we go. And yeah, growing up, and if you live in a community, or if you have parents that believe in a God, you assume a deity. You don't question the deity. You assume one. And when I was asked to find a higher power to control my addictions, I looked, and I said, well, realistically, my parents believe in the Christian faith. My mother's family is Catholic, and my father's family is Protestant. I myself was baptized Protestant. But I asked myself the question, if mom's Roman Catholic and dad's Protestant and I'm baptized Protestant, then which form of this religion is correct, right? If you're going to believe in the deity, as it says in the Bible, that he is the one true God, and all faiths claim the one true God. So I put it upon myself to find justification in one of the religious texts where I can say, this is my one true God. In doing so, I lost my religion. There was too many holes in all the base storylines, too many things unanswered, or too many things written down that primarily made no apparent sense whatsoever. Now, taking things through either miracles or based on faith wasn't something that I was willing to pursue. I didn't want to take something on faith because I was scared if I took one of these religions on faith, I would choose the wrong one. And we all know what happens when you choose the wrong religion. If you choose the wrong religion, then you could spend your entire life worshiping this or said deity and still end up in hell for picking the wrong one. And it's kind of frustrating if you are looking for one. Now you can either be one person who just says, okay, well, my mom believes in this. I don't want to believe that my mom is wrong or going to hell for believing in the wrong religion. So a lot of people, what they do is they join the religion that their parents are in, if both parents are in the same religion, or even close to it. Some people, the best thing about Christian religions is I think there's either less or a little bit more than 3,000 different denominations of the Christian faith. And this was something that was brought up in yesterday's chat, where in yesterday's chat, I said, what makes your religion your religion, and what makes you so certain that your God, right? You all believe in the same God. As I said, when it comes to if you ever looked at the religious tree on how religion stemmed from one religion and then branched off into another religion and then branched off into another religion, then you can almost see the progression of it. You can see how one religion dies to create another, but is based off of the original teachings. Now, it's all been modified over the years, and even more so in the last, I would have to say, 1,500 years. How religions are modified to fit a certain criteria to allow people, gives it just enough loopholes and just enough base facts to allow people to believe in it. And when it comes up to questioning it, you always have these scriptures and loopholes to fall back on. Always taking scriptures outside of its text to give it new meaning. It's difficult to discuss morality and religion, prayer, faith with the religious without getting in to either heated discussions or back and forth banter that goes nowhere, because it doesn't matter what you present to them. We always end up with faith. It's my faith. It's what I know. Without knowing anything, they know that their faith is true. And this is true for anybody who is or has been religious. Uh, I myself, when I was religious, you couldn't tell me that there was no God. I would simply laugh and not listen to your side of the story. And when they said, "Well, how can you play so much belief and so much of yourself into something without knowing it's true?" And I never thought about it. I never took that into context or said, well, I'd have to think about it. Those were never things that came out of my mouth. It was almost like I was pre-programmed to say it's faith. If you don't have faith, you have nothing, right? And I always fell back on that, and it made me, usually made me feel pretty good because you can't. You don't feel like you lose an argument when you fall back on that. It's one of those loophole answers that get you out of every argument, or at least the religious belief it does. Later on, coming to the conclusion that after I transitioned into being an agnostic atheist, I came, I slowly came to conclusions that being religious and falling back on those singular answers to everything, um, you know, uh, it made people think a certain way of me, right? Intellectual conversations about certain things after discussion of faith dwindled. Uh, it's your intellect actually comes into question in a lot of cases, not in all cases. I'm not saying that there aren't smart religious people out there. I'm just saying that if you can take one thing without having a good look at all the facts and all the misrepresentations, if you can come back to the same conclusion about your faith after completely questioning it, then that's a faith that you can stand by. But the problem is people don't consider these, don't really consider these um, forms of argument. They don't question. Okay, so like some religious conversations I get into morality and death. The afterlife always comes into play. Seems to be what most people are focused on. Can't be morale. You can't have a good morale without, or a good morality or a sense of morality without religion, which is preposterous. And people don't think about what they're saying they when they when they say that in a conversation. You can't be moral without God. I always have something. I've always had something to fall back on in that, because it's something that I spent a long time thinking about. When someone says that to you for your first time, you don't automatically answer. You sit back, you look at yourself, you try to find justification in what they're saying. Am I immoral because of my beliefs or my lack of beliefs? And it's almost like a personal battle you have with yourself, and then you go over everything. Well, is this wrong? Is this wrong? Is this wrong? And then I fall back to reading the Bible and seeing where their morality stems from, and what their doctrine teaches them on morality. And after doing so, I could only come to the conclusion that I'm not just moral, but I'm actually more moral than the teachings that exist inside your doctrine. And I can say this with 100% certainty. I've read the Holy Bible, and there are a large amount of abundantly apparent things inside those texts that they don't promote morality. They almost frown upon it. Or if you claim to be moral and do some of these acts based on I must do it for my deity thing, then your morality can be shut off depending on what your God needs of you. Whereas mine can't be. My morality is static. Uh, it holds firm because of my belief that I would rather the golden rule, do unto others as you would do unto yourself. And the human population is a fairly they're a fairly I don't know how to put it without insulting everybody, including myself, but we're self-involved. We love each other to a fault, which is a big, if not the biggest, building block for faith. Most people are that self-involved that the idea of existence and then non-existence, it almost ruins them. It almost causes them. It almost causes them to sit back and just, instead of using the time that they have, fall back and say, I don't have enough time for anything, and fall into a weird depression, which is odd to me, but can happen. As for the religious, this form of self-involvement can be put to the wayside by saying, I will never not exist. After this plane of existence, I have another plane of existence, which is it's greedy. It's greedy to think that if I act or follow these certain set of rules, that I will exist better than the rest. I will go on forever, because the idea of not being conscious or existing is too much for some people to bear. They're that self-involved with themselves, and that's a harsh statement in itself. But the way I look at it is, I have all the time. I have all the time in the world right now to do what I need to do and do what I enjoy. I enjoy my son. I enjoy my fiance. I enjoy my friends and family, and I enjoy the outdoors. I love doing things and experiencing new things. Sunday people go to church, whereas Sunday I would like to try to go fishing or go camping or learn to do something new, or at least try to, making the most of my time that I'm allotted. I don't know how much time I have, so spending countless hours believing in religion and spending so much time over it, only to come to the conclusion that maybe, just maybe, you're wrong, and maybe you're not just wrong about there being a God. Maybe there is a God. Maybe you're just believing in the wrong one. And the chances of that are quite high, based on the different denominations of faith that exist around the world. One person may have gotten it correct, while the other person may have gotten it wrong. Who knows? Maybe one of the smallest denominations of religion in the world, whatever deity that may be, maybe. Sorry about my camera. maybe they're right. Maybe there's only a certain sect of 1,500 people that are believing in the right deity right now in the world. Maybe that's it. Or maybe, just maybe, like I look at it, maybe there's none. If I'm going to either believe in the wrong deity, which there's a large chance of that, or based on the information provided, there is no deity, I can come to that conclusion quite easily. And if I'm wrong, what happens? Well, same thing that happens to everyone that picks or worships the wrong god. They'll go to hell. So I'd rather come to the conclusion that, you know, that it's a greater possibility that there's actually no religion that's correct, based on the information that an all-powerful deity, if one was to give you, or talk to you, say the deity talked to you and give you the information about the world and how he's created it and all that, a Bible shouldn't look like stories, teachings, things like this. I believe a God that created everything would, I believe a Bible would look more like a science book. You know, he would have a greater understanding of the inner workings, and maybe we wouldn't understand it right away, but after looking at his so-called works and how he put everything together, we could, you know, we could, let's say, reverse engineer the text to figure out what the meaning was behind it. And some of you might say that that's preposterous. Why would he do that? Why would he confuse everybody? Well, everybody would be confused until they deciphered it. And you guys have been deciphering religious texts for years and years and years and years, coming up with a plethora of different meanings behind certain scriptures, and taking certain scriptures out of context, which will give you, you know, you can provide religious meaning into anything now. Everything in the Bible is read as a book, and you take quotes from this book, not in context that they were used in the book, but in context in your life, and change the meaning and change the definition of the quote continuously. Now, as for prayer, I was saying in the hangout yesterday with G-Man and his buddy, I forget his name. I think it was Ken, maybe. I'm not 100% sure. But you know, he said, you know, I prayed for financial help, and then I guess this guy God told him to give this guy money to help him out. And you know, some people, most religious people, be like, oh, you know, thank the Lord, he heard your prayers. But all I see is lack of study within it. Whereas if this was to be valid, I would want to do a study on it. Now, instead of praying to my God, pray to a God you generally don't believe in. Expect nothing from the prayers, and expect it never to be answered. But anyway, praying to this God, just do your normal praying. And I am almost certain people will find that the exact same number of prayers get answered. Chance is a great thing, because chance can be measured. We can do studies on chance. You know, I can pray to the blue genie in Aladdin just as much as you can pray to your God, and I will, I'll put money on it that my prayers get answered just as often as your prayers. You know, and I'm talking about like normal prayers, like oh God, keep me safe, or oh God, let me get through this, or oh God, I'm in financial struggle. How am I ever going to get through it? And you know what the funny thing is? I don't pray at all. Uh, I have all these issues in my life. I don't pray. I don't ask for help, but they get resolved. Uh, they always get resolved. Things have a tendency of doing that. Um, and you know, so we can't test the validity of prayer to a particular deity by doing so, by doing these tests. But you'll never find anybody, especially in G-Man's circle, that will agree to do it. And if it is agreed to do, we always fall back to the trust thing, right? Testimony. When he's done of this said study, do I believe his testimony? Whether his testimony is for my hypothesis or against it. Do I believe it? No, I ask for proof of what he's saying, because testimony is only testimony. Testimony does not imply, or it doesn't imply the facts of a testimony. Facts and relevant data need to be added to the testimony to validate it. If we took everybody's testimony on word, there's a good chance that you wouldn't be doing too well in the world. We have a name for that, and it's called gullibility. If you're gullible, it's generally either a funny thing or a bad thing, and most of the times it's a bad thing. So we can do that now. I also in this chat, whenever people start to join, want to discuss faith, and meaning of faith, and how people justify believing in something, and without evidence for it, and falling back on a single word, which is faith. I believe in it. Whether you show me evidence on the contrary, I negate your evidence with faith, which is, I believe, to be fairly ignorant. If we're having a discussion on something and you're providing one angle on the subject, and I'm providing another angle and presenting you with facts to back up my argument, and you dismiss my facts, which prove my argument, based on the fact that you don't need evidence because you have faith, which is ironic. Which, faith is belief in something absent of any real evidence or fact behind it. So believing in something, especially something as large as a deity that you have to give your life for. You have to go to church. You have to do your prayers. You have to spread the word. You have to do all these things, all on faith. Lack of evidence. The belief in something with lack of evidence. Now, as I said before, the belief in something with lack of evidence, you don't do with everything in life, which I find is what makes it so special or appealing to people, because it's one of the only aspects in your life that you'll actually take on faith without proof or evidence. Why do people do this? Well, I always fall back to something horrific that happened in their life, where they were able to mask it or cover it up with faith or a belief in the doctrine. Whereas the words, either in context or out of context, brought you some sort of, you know, uh, maybe it made you feel better, or maybe it didn't make you feel so singled out. And just in that instance, you know, maybe that's where your faith stems from. A huge moment in your life that allowed you to justify believing in something with the lack of evidence, and you go about it. Or it's not a particular big moment in your life. It's something that your parents instilled in you. And a lot of the times you'll hear people of faith use the fear of God, and that's the sad part of it, is that parents will instill fear into their children of their deity, and the last thing you need to do is anger your deity, or you'll burn in flames forever. A horrible, horrible bedtime story for anybody growing up. I can only imagine. Now, maybe that's what happened to me. I wasn't as a kid. The fear of God was never instilled in me. God was it was in my life, but I was never told to fear Him. And I was told about hell and being bad and going there and things like that, but that was the end of the fear for a deity in my life. Now, I've read of God smiting people and for turning Him down and not believing in Him, or believing in a false deity, or proclaiming yourself a false prophet. I've seen all the horrendous things that apparently this God has done based on these scenarios, and I believe if you are going to love someone or something, a deity, or something in the Holy Trinity, the Holy Ghost, or Jesus, if you're going to love something, I think you should love it. But I find it hard to love something that you fear, unless you have a pet lion. You probably love your pet lion, but you should probably always fear your pet lion. Approach it with caution, and I believe if you're going to love something that you fear, that's what everybody should do, is approach it with caution and discretion, and open yourself up to not just the teachings, but allow yourself to interpret the data. Allow yourself to interpret the data. Maybe my lens is dirty and it's screwing up the focus. How's that? Maybe that helps out. I don't know. If you can interpret the data, and maybe set bias aside, maybe more people would be well off. Whereas, there's nothing wrong with having faith in something, but having faith and pushing it on people, that is something else. That is a whole new class of ignorance. I find that something that I really can't describe for some people, for the simple fact that I don't understand it. Because you push faith, and it's almost like a succession of a succession of different steps that was almost instilled in you, whether you know it or not. You start off by the greatness of God, you explain it. And once you explain the greatness of God, you immediately follow right into the love of God. Uh, how His love can guide you, and how His love can do miraculous things for you and your future and your family. And then after His greatness and His love, and you're caught up in this religious dogma. That's as soon as that happens, as soon as you have a hold on it, they instill fear in you that if you stop believing, even if you only have a tiny bit of faith, but they instill this fear in you almost immediately right afterwards, where if you stop believing in this faith, horrendous things are not just probably going to happen. They're almost certainly going to happen. And why would you stop believing why would you stop believing in a deity if only horrible things could come after that? Well, I'm proof that leaving a religion and walking away from a deity doesn't do anything. I'm fine. I feel much better. To have complete and utter control of my destiny is more than just one person can is more than just one person can ever hope for. How liberating it is to hold your path in your own hands without assistance from a deity or a guided hand, or a fear of what this deity might do based on certain choices you make. And then people quite soon after will actually jump back from that talk and run right back into the morality, and say, well, now that you don't believe in your God, now that you don't believe in a God, those choices that you make, those things that you do, you're now open to do all sorts of immoral things. And I am no more capable of doing bad things than the next person. People do have morality. Morality can bend based on justification of the cause. I would never kill somebody, but if somebody harmed or killed someone that I loved, I would be able to bend that morality and be able to justify it, same as anybody else, religious or not. So morality is pliable to the point of how much you let your emotions take hold of you, or how strong you believe in something. And things that happen to you in your life, for good or bad, impact you. I don't need a God to hold a solid sense of morality, but the things that happen in my life allow me to bend or shift what kind of instances in my life that I can bend my morality. As for killing, or I've never hurt a dog. I love animals. I love all types of animals. I think they're beautiful. Birds, anything. But at the same sense, if an animal ever tried to kill me or hurt someone I love, I would have no problem killing that animal. To protect what you love, and among other things, survival instincts. You can shift your morality. So morality is more of a evolutionary a thing that we gained, and it all stemmed from after we didn't have to fight to live. As our ancestors may have had to. Uh, everybody was out to kill everybody or hunt. Everybody was good to hunt everybody else, and life was hard back then. But the easier life became, the more morality came into question, and how you treat others came into focus. And now we all live fairly well, some better than others. I'm sad to say, but based on this, society has such a firm grasp on morality, and it's such a huge, huge concept and speaking point these days. And I base that on how easy it is to live today. There's no reason to be killing. Uh, there's no reason to be killing animals in excess. Uh, you know, you don't need to hunt anymore for food. You'll find a lot of people that still do hunt for food. They don't go to the grocery stores often, which is neither beside the point. But and as for killing other people, you do have some people that that are killing people or shifting the morality, or some people just don't have any. Some people are just generally bad, and that's uh, that. No one's ever born that way. No one's ever born mad or angry or just horrible. There's always a significant point in their life which kind of triggers this type of you know acts, and um, you know um, something significant needs to happen to somebody for someone to completely lose morality. Uh, and we can say how horrible of a person they are, and we'll have all sorts of reasons to justify why we say that person's horrible. But you also have to look back and see what stemmed in their life to cause them to act this way. Uh, you know, there's many different factors that can make people do bad things, uh, and of course they still need to be punished for what they do, because that's not how we as society choose to live anymore. And because we choose not to live that way, you must follow our rules. And basically, our rules are based on general concepts and morality. Take what's not yours, earn what you need. Um, you know, don't take another life, and we will promise you that no one will try to take yours. And if they do take your life, we promise you they will, be dealt with justly. And sometimes they're not, but that's society. So, as for the discussion, morality, religion, prayer, faith, uh, reason discussion such as this, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a quick break, walk away, and see if we can't get any people added on. I'll be back in about 5 minutes. Um, so, if one or two more join, I'll be back in 5 minutes, and maybe we can discuss these topics in a little bit more detail. All right, see you in a couple minutes. Alright, I'm back. Well, while I was gone, I was thinking about something else. Is is belief in the supernatural something that people use as kind of a crutch, uh, and almost a statement, not a verbal statement, but a generalizing statement that there's something bigger than us uh, in the world. And I find that to be an answer that I get from some of the religion, that don't you want to believe that there's something bigger than us out there? And generally, I totally agree with that. There is something bigger out there, uh, but I don't believe that to be a deity or a supreme being. Um, if you look past our world, our Earth, uh, there are many things much grander than what we 100 years ago could possibly comprehend. Uh, the beauty of the cosmos, and the complexity of it. Um, you know, that in itself is beautiful. The same as Neil deGrasse and other people have said before, that we are, we are all stardust. I believe it was Lawrence Krauss who originally uh, manufactured that statement. Is one of the most beautiful and poetic things I've ever heard. That not only is something as majestic and complex as the universe, the solar systems, uh, is it not only is it beautiful, but it's part of us. We are the same things that make up the stars, and the same things that put our galaxies together. Um, uh, you can find all the same properties within us. And the beauty of that is, it's far more beautiful than any scriptures I've ever read, or any poetry I've ever read. Uh, it's you know the idea that we are just as complex, or if not more complex, than uh, something as grand as the universe is, I find to be uh, better than what most people find in spirituality. Now, with spirituality, I will have to agree with Sam Harris, and knowing, or trying to find a deeper purpose within yourself through spiritual wellness, whether the concept of a spirit, or uh, a second existence outside of this body, I find to be, uh, you know, I find to be moronic in certain ways, and unjustified in others. Is you know, uh, as long as you better yourself, uh, or do better for others, then what is the harm of spirituality? I can't find much harm in something that is only there to make someone a better person, or make someone a better person for other people. I was talking to someone at work with the other day. She found out I was an atheist, and I get that you're got six heads look, and she said, I definitely believe. Before my father and mother died, I had a dream. Uh, her mother was asking, wanted her to be there, giving her solace or something like that, to to I'm going to be okay type thing. whether I believe these dreams happened or if this is something that they've convinced themselves actually did happen in order to make the loss easier for them. You know, that's to be decided or to be proven. Now, who does that hurt? Well, most would say it doesn't hurt anybody to believe in such things. But I find lying to yourself, even when you can lie to yourself and justify it as a supernatural occurrence or a spiritual occurrence, it's still lying to yourself. Deceiving yourself, does nothing for you. It doesn't prove. It doesn't prove that things are going to be better. Coming to that understanding that, after a loss, coming to grips with the loss and on your own terms, believing that they're gone, that even though they're gone, there was purpose for them being here. Encounters with people. I lost a lot of friends in my life, in my circles, and my last friend that died, Kyle, was a real good friend. He was a special kind of person. He was crazy but loving, and I generally miss him. But right away, I have to heal, or I have to justify the loss. Whereas, if he wasn't here, if I had never met him, what would be different? Well, would be lots of things different, experiences that I may never have had, or experiences of anger that I got over, that helped build me, and help characterize my persona. These things, they help mold who I am today. I am sad that he's gone, but all the memories I have of him, and all the experiences I have, and all the experiences of growth that I had because of him. He may be gone, but he's only gone in a physical sense. Whereas to say he also lives on in my mind. I wouldn't say he lives on in another realm or another plane of existence or anything like that. Not to say that I couldn't conceive of a place. I could conceive of a place where maybe through maybe M theory we can think of something quantum that may have maybe pass on to another plane, which is exactly like this, where he died in this one but lives on in another. All that is hypothetical, but I find I can put faith in something like that, where I have no proof of it. But as for it being caused by natural causes that maybe we don't understand yet, as opposed to supernatural causes that we will never understand. And if we ever do understand supernatural causes, they are no longer supernatural. They become natural. Natural laws will be able to explain them. These laws will probably only be explained through M theory, or a division of quantum theory. And if that happens, then we'll as a whole can discuss it at that point in time. But I can't see there being a being that created the universe and then put us on this earth only to say that he loves us and created us in his own image. How how can someone love us and create this universe because of the expansion of the universe doomed us as a species to die? You know, and I'm sure there's uh, many religious rebuttals that people could come up with to justify said remarks, but other than that, I can't see it. Um, so is dreaming bad things happening? Like if this person at my work had a dream of her mother, you know, kind of saying goodbye or whatever, you know, uh, is that something that was made up or something that her brain made up to help her mentally cope with it? Is another, you know, is another way to look at it. Um, so yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wait for someone to join, and then we'll continue the discussion from there on out. All right. Now, while I'm waiting for people to come on, I'm gonna share a couple. I'm gonna share one of the videos I made on morality, religion, uh, and that way, at least there is some context in the feed while we're waiting for people to join. Let's see here. Recommended. Okay, yeah, this one here is morality, prayer, and trust in God. It's a So that was a video that I did on, you know, kind of questions for people, whatever. And yeah, so anyway, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of people on right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set another hangout for another time. So you guys can watch this, but I'll set the hangout for later on today. Probably set it for about an hour, and we'll see where it goes from there. But this broadcast will be on my channel, so if you want to watch this as well. Again, a lot of my you know, ideas and opinions on certain subject matters, so you can listen to this as well. And I'll have a broadcast for probably an hour to 2 hours ahead of time. All right, everybody, have a good one. And Superman 1983-7 is out, and Atheism: The Link to Truth. Check out the channel.